Back here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, the Mohegan Sun 100 staged and ready to go here at the Magic Mile. Yesterday, we had qualifying for the event. Justin Bonsignor went on to win the pole position. Pete, it was his 4th at New Hampshire, his 36th career pole. And when you look through the record books at this racetrack, the pole winner has won 16 different times. And so he is certainly in prime position to be able to get those 3 consecutive wins here in New Hampshire.
Yeah, we went to the notebook from last year with conditions somewhat similar yesterday afternoon for qualifying. Certainly turned out to be the right choices that they made because he had the speed to get on the pole today.
Yeah, Justin Bonsignor certainly looking very good. Will line up alongside Craig Lutz, and Lutz has won all the big races, all those NASCAR Cup Series companion races as part of the All-Star Weekend at North Wilkesboro. He won there. He won the Thursday night show heading into the Richmond Raceway. He's going for 3 for 3 tonight in that respect, and he's another driver that's in that championship mix, currently tied for 4th in the series standings.
And makes his 150th start here this weekend, so he has got some extra excitement aboard that car.
And he's a car that has proven to be quick over the past couple of weeks. They have changed their strategy and their approach. That has seemed to work for the 46 of Craig Lutz, and those things have gotten better for that entire operation. Let's take a moment. Let's go trackside and hear from the 3rd member of our broadcast team, Jesse Punchy, is standing by with our pole winner, Justin Bonsignor.
That's right, guys. Justin Bonsignor leading the field to green here today. Justin, you got a fast race car. What more do you guys need? Do you have what it takes to get it done today?
Of course, we got a really good team. We'll just have to execute on pit road, have the right strategy, and just hope to have a shot when you take the white flag. That's all you can ask for when you come off of turn 2 here is to be in the lead, hopefully, and make the right moves down the back straightaway. But I just want to thank all the fans for coming out. It's a really good crowd for 9 in the morning. Hopefully we can put on a good race for everybody, and we'll see what we can do.
Real quick before you climb in the car, I know this place is special to the mods. What does it mean for any driver in this field to get a win here?
Yeah, this is our Daytona, so there's so much that goes into it. The race car has to be fast. You have to be mentally smart throughout the race. There's just a lot of things that it takes to win here, and when you do be able to turn into that victory lane, it's pretty special. So whoever does it today will have earned it, and hopefully it's us.
Thanks, Justin. Good luck today.
Thanks, guys.
Justin Bonsignor, he's looking for his 3rd win in a row here today at New Hampshire.
And has to be favored going into this, particularly with the previous wins, and starting from the pole today, big advantage.
Yeah, he's had a lot of success here. Let's take a look back at the success Justin Bonsignor has had here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway the last 2 years. Bonsignor, 2023, came in and he and Doug Coby went toe-to-toe. Coby in the 7 New York, battling, swapping the lead several times in the late stages. They came to the white flag and it wasn't over then. Coby with one last-ditch effort as they came off the turn to the checkered flag, but it was Justin Bonsignor after making contact, beating and banging on each other to get the victory here that day by 45 thousandths of a second. You go back 1 year ago, a more dominating win for Justin Bonsignor, his 2nd of 6 wins of the season, and he went on to march on to his 4th series title in the Whelen Modified Tour and set his path etching closer to the history books and setting more records in Whelen Modified Tour competition. So Justin Bonsignor and the rest of the field getting strapped in, ready to go racing here today. Doug Coby will be back in the field as well. He's going to start deep in the field. Maybe we'll see a recap of what we saw back in 2023 and that great finish that we had just a handful of years ago.
Yeah, and we heard it from everybody yesterday when you said, how do you want to be set up to finish this race? Where do you want to be? Just about all of the drivers said, got to be in the top 3 or 4 coming out of turn 2 to be in the mix to get to the finish line first.
We see a ton of lead changes here at this racetrack. They swap in and out, inside, outside, whatever the case may be. Very aggressive racing. The draft will be in full effect, and it certainly creates the excitement that we have come to know here at the Magic Mile.
For sure. So as we get closer to the start and our pre-race ceremonies, the excitement continues to build. Of course, the driver's excited to be part of a combination weekend here at New Hampshire, as always, under some watchful eyes from some of the names that they get to watch on weekends. They're watching them here, particularly in the running of the Mohegan Sun 100 today. Give you the starting lineup coming up shortly and continue with our pre-race ceremonies here for the start of the Mohegan Sun 100.
Please rise as you are able. Remove your hats, and veterans render a hand salute as the Lexington, Massachusetts Police Honor Guard presents our nation's colors. Here to offer today's invocation, please welcome from Racing with Jesus Ministries, Reverend Dan Petfield.
Let's bow our heads. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the modifieds. We thank you for bringing them here up to New Hampshire, Lord, for all the thrills and excitement, Lord, that they bring. Lord, we thank you for the men and women, Lord, that build and service these cars. We just pray that you bless and keep them in your loving arms. Thank you for the crew members, Heavenly Father. Lord, we thank you, Lord, for each NASCAR official, Lord, and each track official, Lord, each worker, Lord, that's associated with this race today. We pray that you would cover them, Lord, in your precious blood. Lord, and we thank you for the fans. Lord, you've brought them here because of the freedoms that we have in this country. And Lord, we're just so blessed to live in this country and experience those freedoms. Lord, keep us all in your loving arms. Help us to enjoy the day. And we thank you for all you've done. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Here to perform God Bless America, please welcome rising pop artist and a top 10 finalist from American Idol, Julia Gagnon.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with light from above, from the mountains to the prairies, to the ocean white with foam. God bless America, my home sweet home. Oh, God bless America, my home sweet home.
Let's hear it for Julia's performance of God Bless America.
The 13th of 16 events on the 2025 calendar for the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour, the 77th visit by the NASCAR oldest division to the Magic Mile here today. If you can remember all the way back to Mike McLaughlin winning the first NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour event here in 1990, one of 24 drivers to win a prestigious race here on the Magic Mile.
And now, here to say the most famous words in motorsports, please welcome Mohegan Tribe Ambassador Mark Brown.
Drivers, start your engines.
And with that, the roar of the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour from pit road gets ready to pull out. They won last time as they take a look at the gauges to make sure everything comes up right before they peel off of pit road and on to the 1 mile oval here at New Hampshire. Again, the biggest stage, the biggest race of the year for these NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour competitors. And of course, we haven't really touched on the fact that results today are going to possibly shake up the point standings as we get into this weekend as well. Some guys, well, they'll tell you they're not concerned about points. They just want to win this race. But just one eye looking at the point standings coming into this. And soon to get to the end of the Mohegan Sun 100 and find out where everybody stands as we climb closer to a 2025 champion for the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour.
Yeah, so the engines are fired here for the Mohegan Sun 100. In a moment, when we come back, we'll introduce to you the starting lineup here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway for the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour. We'll be back in just a moment.
I want to remind everybody about all the excitement that goes on here at New Hampshire. When the action isn't hot on the racetrack, it's hot elsewhere, particularly in the fan zone, located just outside the tunnel turns here at New Hampshire. All kinds of fun to be had for the whole family. So make a stop over there. Also, some great music on hand as well. For instance, tonight we'll have the Flying Ivories Dueling Pianos will hit the stage in the Groove Fan Hangout tent. That's tonight starting at 9:30. And before that, Draw the Line, the Aerosmith Tribute Band, playing on the Magic Mile stage just outside the infield tunnel. That is happening tonight at 8:30 p.m. Also, don't forget the Cornhole Tournament that you can sign up for. That benefits Speedway Children's Charities, the Track Walk. Another great way for you to make a contribution. Sign up for that as well and take the walk around the Magic Mile with Ross Chastain. That happens 5 o'clock.
Welcome back to New Hampshire Motor Speedway for the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour. 77 times running of this famed facility here located in Loudon, New Hampshire. The field gridded and ready to go racing. Let's take a look at the starting lineup for today's Mohegan Sun 100. He'll start on the pole. Third time in a row he has won the pole position here at this racetrack, going for 3 in a row. And Justin Bonsignor, a 4-time series champion, leads him around. Craig Lutz, he won at North Wilkesboro and Richmond earlier this season, will start to the outside of row 1. Third today, John McKennedy from Chelmsford, Massachusetts. He's a 22 series champion. And Tyler Ripkema, with his best start of the season, starts 4th.
Fifth starting spot goes to the number 14 of Jake Lutz from Hamburg, New York, the Advantage Trucks Anastasi Trucking number 14. And alongside the 2-time NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour champion Ron Silk from Norwalk, Connecticut, 3-time winner so far in 2025. Seventh starting spot goes to the 44 of Chase Dowling from Roxbury, Connecticut. He was the winner of the Musket 250 here in 2018. And Tommy Catalano from Ontario, New York in the number 54, winner at Monadnock earlier this season.
Patrick Emmerling will start 9th inside position with number 1 car. He's a 2-time winner this season, sits 3rd in the series standings for Emmerling. Andy Seiss, back in his home state of Hampstead, New Hampshire, a 2-time champion of the Southern Whelen Modified Tour in car number 70. Making his debut driving the number 13 in honor of his uncle Ted Christopher. It's Mike Christopher Jr. and the Wolcott, Connecticut driver, car number 13. A beautiful piece out on track will start 11th, and Joey Cipriano from Waterbury, Connecticut will roll from 12th.
At the head of our second half of the starting lineup is the number 58 for Eric Goodale from Riverhead, New York, the GAF Roofing. Number 58 alongside Matt Kimball from Bennington, New Hampshire, J&M Towing and Birch Financial, the sponsors on the number 43. The 2022 winner will start 17th. That's Anthony Nocella from Woburn, Mass. in the Keene Towing and Recovery Copart number 17, alongside the winner at White Mountain earlier this season, Kyle Bonsignor. Bayshore, New York is home for the Chalu Performance number 22.
Starting 17th will be the 56 of Trevor Catalano in his sophomore season here with the Whelen Modified Tour. He lines up alongside the 64 of Austin Beers from Northampton, Pennsylvania. The current point leader is going to be starting deep in the field here today. Stephen Kopchik will start 19th. He won as a crew chief the Big Musket 250 a couple of years ago, looking to do the same as a driver. And Woody Pitkat, who won one of his 4 victories in the series in 2014 here at the Magic Mile, he'll start 20th.
Back in the 21st starting spot, making his first start of 2025, it's Doug Colby from Milford, Connecticut, the 6-time NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour champ, 4-time winner here at New Hampshire. Got to come a long way back from 21st to get to the front, but if anybody can do it, Colby can do it for his first start this year. And alongside of him, the number 77 of Gary Putnam from Concord, North Carolina. 23rd starting spot, the number 8 of John Michael Chenette from Thompson, Connecticut. And the 06 for Sam Ramo from Westminster, Massachusetts.
Starting deep in the field, 25th starter is Matt Hirschman, tied for 4th in the championship points alongside series veteran Ken Hagee and relative newcomer Mike Marshall, rounding out our 27-car starting field for the Mohegan Sun 100. Get a look up atop the flag stand here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Joining us is Mohegan Tribal member Luke Brown as our honorary race starter for the Mohegan Sun 100. Field will see 2 laps to go when they come across the line this time by. Get the opportunity to put some heat in these tires. Obviously a very cool morning here today at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. We rolled in at 54 degrees when we get set to go racing here today. Certainly going to be a race where there's going to be a lot of power being made by these engines, a lot of grip in the racetrack early on, but we can expect these cars to be pretty loose in the early stages. The drivers are going to have to be up on the wheel when we get started here today.
They talked about that yesterday, the fact that even though they practiced and qualified in the sunshine here yesterday, the temperature would make a big difference, the temperature of the track. And as you mentioned, Joe, it takes a few laps to get the temperature, not just in their tires, but on the racetrack as well. So this will be interesting to see who wants to make some moves in the early going.
We'll keep an eye on all of that as we get going here today. Jesse Punch on the pit lane will have us covered with all the stories throughout the afternoon. Going to be a busy day down there for her because pit strategy is going to be a big factor when we get racing. But another factor might be the driver of the 7 New York. Doug Coby is back in the field. He's a 6-time series champion, but making his first start of 2025. But he's going to start deep in the field today, Pete, back in the 21st position.
He's got some ground to cover to get to the front. He'll be one to watch for sure because he's in great equipment here this weekend in New Hampshire.
The other one to watch at the back of the field is going to be the 60 car of Matt Hirschman. Again, tied for 4th in the championship standings, still within reach of that title with 4 races left to go. We know how good Matt Hirschman is. This racetrack hasn't been all that kind to him, still looking for his first victory here, although his dad, a 5-time series champion in the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour, Tony Hirschman, won here 7 times. And Matt Hirschman starting back in the 25th position in that yellow and red number 60, hoping to see if he can do something that his dad has done in the past.
Something that they have talked about, the strategy of how to come from the back, and Matt Hirschman always seems to be around the front at the end of the race if he can stay out of trouble. So he's another one you're going to want to watch fight his way from the back.
As we get ready to go, the field heads down into turn number 3, looking for the green flag of the Mohegan Sun 100. The hardy New England modified race fans and the faithful are here at the Magic Mile, ready to watch the ground pounders, an open wheel action in New Hampshire Motor Speedway, a marquee event on any series schedule. They come off turn number 4, leaving the field in command of Justin Bonsignor, and the green flag given by Luke Brown gets the field underway as they head for turn 1 the first time. Outside lane, advantage to Bonsignor. Ripkema now will challenge an old blue, the blue number 3, the outside lane, trying to take over the 2nd spot over Craig Lutz.
Lutz will get by him on the outside going into turn 3, but Ripkema stays right there and is able to make the pass to get up into the 2nd spot. He was fast yesterday in qualifying. He's backing it up in the early laps here.
They'll snake down the front straightaway. Bonsignor trying to break free of everybody. That draft we mentioned will be in full effect. With these cool temperatures, these engines make a lot more horsepower. They put a lot more fuel through those carburetors to gain speed. Here's Ripkema charging up the back straightaway, challenging for the lead, but good action deeper in the pack. We follow Patrick Emmerling. He's working down to the inside of turns 3 and 4.
Across the stripe this time. Got about 5 cars all hooked up as they head down into turn number 1. Ripkema does not want to step out of line to try and make a pass, but we'll see plenty of lead changes as this thing goes along.
Lead changes will be a name of the game throughout this race today. You can manage the runs. It's not like you can hold back if you want to, but you can take the advantage if you want to dive to the inside. It's quick to build a draft and gain that run. You see Craig Lutz launch through the center of turn number 4 and try to put some pressure on Tyler Ripkema in that 3 car.
Ripkema takes a peek to the inside of Justin Bonsignor and again does not choose to pull out of line. Will follow him off the 2nd turn and down the backstretch. They are nose to tail as they streak down that backstretch.
And Craig Lutz literally pushing on the back bumper of Tyler Ripkema. Behind them, the 16 car. That's Ron Silk, 2-time winner here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway as well. He's got 2 series championships, and he's somebody you have to keep an eye on in that 16 car riding in 4th.
Right now, happy to ride in the draft. Here's Ripkema again with a peek to the inside, but just not enough to pull alongside, and he'll follow Justin Bonsignor through 1 and 2.
You tend to see the runs develop off turn 2, down the back straightaway, and the moves made into turn 3. Everybody gathers it up, nose to tail, as they accordion into turn 3. You see them running a higher lane than what they will typically run in the Craftsman Truck Series and NASCAR Cup Series throughout the race weekend. These modifieds can go about as high as they can carry that momentum through, and that's exactly what they're trying to do, just keep them wound up in the outside.
And again, you'll see them step out of line, take a little peek, figure whether they've got enough to dive underneath. That's the case with Craig Lutz as he took a look underneath Ripkema, but did not get it done here on the front stretch and continues to follow Ripkema on the back stretch.
Justin Bonsignor holding serve. Ripkema having the first fourth place qualifying position, first top 5 starting spot in the year, and he's held second throughout the way so far. We've got a car already coming down pit lane here in the early stages, and we're only a couple of laps in here to the Mohegan Sun 100, and it is a 7 New York of Doug Coby. Coby, who was at the tail end of the field, we highlighted him at the start, but he's making his way down pit lane in the 7 New York.
Tough break for Coby and the Tommy Baldwin crew as he slowly makes his way down to his pit crew. We'll keep an eye on what goes on there.
Similar troubles for that team here a year ago, where they did not make many laps because of a mechanical problem, but Coby's slow, limping down the pit lane and not going to get that victory that they were hoping for today, not being in the championship chase. The only thing that really mattered for them was the win. Up front, though, we start to see a little bit more pressure by Craig Lutz there down the back straightaway that time. Continues to look to the inside of Tyler Ripkema, putting the heat on that 3 car.
There's Coby sitting on pit road, obviously came down pit road with no power, and his day no doubt is done. We also see the 44 of Chase Dowling on pit road again early on this race. Not sure what's going on there, but he's headed to his pit crew on pit road.
And Coby has pulled the helmet off, and the 44 of Chase Dowling now in his pit stall as we watch the on-track action. Dowling's going to come in. They're actually going to put some fuel inside this race car. Green flag pit stops for fuel, not common at all in the Whelen Modified Tour, so we'll have to follow up and see exactly what happened there to the Dowling car. Look at this freight train, though, at the front of the field. 10 cars, all nose to tail, about a foot between each and every one of them, and Lutz now diving to the inside of the back straightaway, but he just cannot make that inside lane work.
Yeah, as Ripkema shuts the door going into turn 3, nothing for Lutz to get up alongside, at least with this lap, but he's showing some strength, and he's got Ron Silk right behind him to give him a shove. Through 1 and 2 and down the backstretch. Now a little bit of breathing room for Justin Bonsignor. Got a car length between himself and Tyler Ripkema as they head into turn 3. Again, all in the draft and just happy to follow nose to tail without stepping out of line.
Starting to see some speed out of that 1 car, too, of Patrick Emmerling. Emmerling is pressing the bottom lane, trying to move forward. He's up to 5th at the moment here as he continues to drive forward. Love that snake down the back straightaway. Typically, you would see that 2nd and 3rd place car be able to go up there and challenge Justin Bonsignor and challenge for that lead. But I think the case of the extra speed that these cars are carrying here this morning, because of the cool conditions, because of the extra horsepower, Bonsignor just looking so good at the front of this field right now, has been able to hold everybody at bay 12 laps in.
Just watched the other Bonsignor try to put a move on Joey Cipriano. That did not happen, and he pulled back in line and continues to follow the rest of the field.
Yeah, that's Kyle Bonsignor. They are cousins. Here's the move to the inside that we were talking about. Ron Silk now takes over 3rd as he gets by Craig Lutz and starts to move forward and bring up that speed a little bit. Continue to press as the tires begin to fade as the run goes on. Silk is going to go for more, though. Down to the bottom of turn 1, side by side for the 2nd position. He's going to even go for the lead here. He'll pull to the inside of Bonsignor for a moment off 2.
He's got no room to pull up in front of Ripkema, so right now he is mired down there on the bottom. Finally, some room to pull up in front of Craig Lutz, and he does. Wisely gets back in line and holds on to 3rd.
And I think that's the effect of the draft. You saw Tyler Ripkema. He was committed to pushing Justin Bonsignor on the outside lane. As good of a run as Ron Silk had to the inside of the racetrack, it did not match to those 2 bumpers being locked in the outside lane, and Silk had to settle back into 3rd, and he's lucky that he didn't lose more than that.
Yeah, that's one problem with pulling out of line, particularly with this draft. You could get stuck on the bottom and they'll freight train right by you, and Silk was lucky to be able to find an opening to get back up in line.
Great action here on the racetrack, but we've got to follow up on what happened to Doug Coby. Jesse, Doug Coby, heartbreak to see him out of the race so early. What's the story on the 7 New York? So Kobe back behind pit lane, and a tough day for him. Up front, Silk continues to try to put the pressure on, and we've got another one smoking. Oh, it's Jacob Lutz. And car spinning to the inside in turns 1 and 2, and that's going to bring out the caution flag for the first time today here, 16 laps in, as Jacob Lutz and his car goes up in smoke with a trail of fluid behind it to the bottom of turn 1 and 2.
Tough break. There's a guy that had high hopes for today's race. In that number 14, he's been pretty solid throughout the season, and now it looks like the day is done as he sits on the inside of the racetrack in turn 2. We'll see what happens out there as we see the replay on flow, and the smoke just starts to pour going down into turn 1, and wisely gets off the racetrack as soon as possible.
And Patrick Emerling, one of our championship contenders, was right in the middle of that. He went to the outside lane to get out of that fluid, and then the 70 of Andy Seiss got in that fluid and went spinning to the inside. And I don't think he had any damage on that 70, and he's been able to get that car rolling once again. Jake Lutz, a college athlete, and he brings that mental focus and mentality to his race program. Races in Western New York for the most part, where he's from. They've dabbled with the Whelen Modified Tour part-time over the past couple of seasons, but that 14 car, when they show up, they are very prepared. Joe Stearns, who owns the car, Billy Putney, a well-known modified driver in the state of New York, is the crew chief for that particular car, and heartbreak to see them have mechanical problems here so early on. I think they were very optimistic about their chances today.
Yeah, he's run 5 of the 12 races, and in 2 of those, he's been in the top 5. So happy with the way his part-time season was going, but it's done for today.
So Jake Lutz out of his race car. No relation to Craig Lutz in the 46 car that runs in 4th at the moment. Justin Bonsignor has led the first 18 laps so far. Tyler Ripkema, Ron Silk, Craig Lutz, and Tommy Catalano among the top 5 in the competition so far today. While we've got a minute, cleanup continues here in turns 1 and 2. We'll step aside and come back with more of the Mohegan Sun 100 in a moment.
As far as the schedule goes for the rest of the day here at New Hampshire, keep an eye out for on-track activity. Of course, the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series will highlight their run this afternoon in the Team EJP 175. That is scheduled to get out on the track around noontime today, as we start with the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series in their EJP 175, and then we'll get to see the NASCAR Cup Series as they take to the track. They got a practice schedule for 3 o'clock this afternoon and go to their qualifying at 4:10.
Justin Bonsignor has led since the drop of the green flag here in the Mohegan Sun 100 at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Great to see a bright early morning crowd here at the Magic Mile as we get underway with what is 4 races left to go in the 2025 NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour season. In the field here today, a very special paint scheme. Mike Christopher Jr. driving a number 13 in honor of his late uncle Ted Christopher, who passed 8 years ago, just a few days ago this week. And Mike Christopher Jr. driving that 13 with a gold leaf. That was one of the paint schemes that Ted Christopher ran late in his career. Ted Christopher was iconic in modified racing. He was a 5-time winner here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, including 3 in a row from the 2004-2005 season. He was really the intimidator of modified racing. He had the famous 2-tap rule where he taps you once to get out of the way, he taps you a second time, and then he moves you to be able to get by you. He was aggressive, relentless racer, but he was a guy that would do anything for the field around him. His nephew, Mike Christopher Jr., has made a great driving career in his own right. He's won many races at his home track at the Stafford Motor Speedway. He's already won a Whelen Modified Tour race a couple of years ago at Jennerstown Speedway, and he's carrying that 13 car with pride. What's so interesting about Mike Christopher in this car is they've had this car in the shop since 2018, just a bare chassis up on the mezzanine. They decided earlier this year to bring it down, put it together for this race to be able to go racing here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. An old spec motor that they bought years ago from a former modified tour team sitting, collecting dust in the corner, put that in the race car. And Mike Christopher Jr. out here today having a good run inside the top 10. And later today will make his debut in the Craftsman Truck Series for Hallmar Friesen Racing, Stewart, Jessica Friesen, and that entire team in the 62 truck. So it's a big weekend for him, and certainly a big honor to his late uncle, one of the legends in modified racing, TC, Ted Christopher.
Yeah, Ted was a lot of fun off the racetrack as well. You'll see pictures of Ted, always a big smile and kidding around, playing jokes on people. Sorely missed for sure, particularly here around the Whelen Modified Tour.
Well, pit road is open and a couple of takers here coming down early. And this is Justin Bonsignor, the race leader, Tyler Ripkema coming down, Craig Lutz, Tommy Catalano, and Mike Christopher Jr. all on pit lane to get their service. Now, they've got to get at least a little bit of fuel in their cars to be able to make the difference. And the rules for the Whelen Modified Tour is that they cannot take fuel and tires on the same spot. To cover the pit stops, let's go down trackside and Jesse Punch.
Race leader Justin Bonsignor has made his way into his pit stall. As you guys mentioned, fuel or tires is the game, and today it is fuel for the 51. This team tells me they changed tires during practice and felt great about where they were at. Not super concerned about tires, mostly using this pit stop for strategy. They shouldn't have to come down pit road again if they don't need to, so that 51 team is looking to chase the checkers now. The 60 of Matt Hirschman also coming down pit road, pitting just behind the 51. Hirschman looking to make up some ground. Team made a few adjustments to that car, and hopefully they're going to be able to gain some positions through the field here as we head into the second half of this race.
Thank you, Jesse. A bit of drama on pit lane as well, because one of the teams has dragged their fuel can down pit road with them, and it is left out by the safer barrier on pit wall, just about one timing line from the end of pit lane. So that will be a penalty. We'll have to go back and see which one it is. We can barely make out the number on it, and that will force them for a penalty, whoever belongs to that fuel can, because that is removing pit equipment.
Yeah, that's a tough break for somebody, a mistake that they never want to happen. And you can see the crew is coming to retrieve. Looks like it might be from the car of Sam Ramo as they pick it up and take the fuel can back to their pit stall.
Yeah, so tough break for that team. We'll get the official word here as well. Now, a couple of cars will come down pit road and see if they can get their second round. Some different strategies here under play. We see exactly what happened here with the Sammy Ramu 06 as they get tires done on their team. But we see some of the other cars on pit lane, like Tyler Ripkema directly in front. He took tires the first time around. Now they're taking fuel and making some adjustments on that 3 car for Ripkema. So a lot of different strategies here playing out, while other drivers just decided to take their fuel now and save some of those tires for later in the race.
Well, and if it's true that Sammy Ramo will have to go to the back because of that incident with the fuel can, wise to come back in and go ahead and do their tire changes, which they did. Kind of a surprise that Ripkema would come back in, running second for all of that time. We did see him dip out of the draft and attempt to make a pass a couple of times, and don't know if whether maybe he felt something that he didn't have enough to get down underneath under the draft to make the pass on Bonsignor, and felt that they needed to make those adjustments. But again, a car that appeared to be running so well, seems unusual that they make adjustments at this point of the race.
Yeah, track position is big when it comes to this race here at New Hampshire. The Whelen caution lights are on for the first time today. Whelen, the official warning lights of NASCAR, trusted to protect first responders. Well, Pete, I do think that you're very right in that thought around Tyler Ripkema. He was trying to make moves in the early stages of that race to see if he can get around Justin Bonsignor, one of the only cars among the top contenders to be able to come down and get both fuel and tires. Now, they do have the option to come and get tires a little bit later, but these tires aren't going to wear out like they might at other tracks. Like if you're familiar to modified racing in the Northeast, Thompson Speedway lately, tires have made a big difference in the comers and goers by the package that they have there. Tyler Ripkema and that team, they didn't have what I would call the maneuverability of their race car. I don't think they're going to gain a tremendous amount of speed here by having tires, but what they are going to do is they're going to gain the ability to position their car where they want to put it and when they want to put it there. And I think that'll be the advantage that we'll see with him. Now, how far he could move from his position now. He's pretty deep in the running order. How far he can move that forward? Well, this will be a good test for the rest of the field here as the track conditions begin to change, as it starts to warm up a bit as the day goes on.
There's always the fact, we don't know for sure, but there's always the fact that he felt something while going around in caution and felt that something might have been amiss with one of the tires, and at that case, it's best to come in and change what you can. Whether that's a strategy move or it was a necessity, we're not sure, but you're right. He's got a lot of race cars he's got to pass to get back up there in the front after running a very strong second place for most of this race since the drop of the green flag.
Now, the championship point battle has been really interesting all season long, and we'll take a look at the series points coming in because Austin Beers right now holding a slight advantage over the champion behind him, who is defending series champion Justin Bonsignor, just 17 points. Patrick Emmerling sitting there 22 points out, and Craig Lutz and Matt Hirschman both tied for that fourth position. So you've got 5 drivers in all that are really some of the factors and some of the favors. For me personally, I think, Pete, that this race here is critical for the championship chase because I think this race here in Riverhead, the next race on the schedule, are really a couple of the wild card races. New Hampshire Motor Speedway, quite honestly, has not been good for Austin Beers. He has struggled. He came here yesterday, struggled in practice, did not qualify well in that 64 car, started back in the 18th position, and he hasn't really picked up that many more positions now. He's running inside the top 20, while Justin Bonsignor has led from the drop of the green flag, has got his pit service. He's certainly been dominant, going for 3 in a row here at this racetrack. This could be a big swing for your point leader there, the 64 of Austin Beers, seeking his first series championship. They've been solid all year long, but today, this weekend, they haven't been at their best. Can they recover over the course of the next 75 laps and make the best of what has been a tough weekend for this team so far?
And for somebody mired that far back at this point of the race, we're a quarter of the way through the Mohegan Sun 100. It's kind of like go time for him if he's going to get up there and battle with the leaders.
It really is, and part of winning championships is how you respond to pressure. This weekend, I think, has been a pressure situation for the 64. They have responded all year long, but is that going to be able to continue here today? They've got their work cut out for them, and certainly Justin Bonsignor has put that pressure on the rest of them, as has Patrick Emmerling, who now rides in second. Pete, field's going to get the 1 to go this time as they come across the line. And just to compare with the National Series, there is a choose line and that choose V on the front straightaway, but the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour only has one aspect of the choose. The leader can decide if they want the inside or the outside lane on a restart. That's the only line that moves. All the odd number cars will line up at the bottom. All the even number cars will line up to the outside lane. And the race leader, Ron Silk, as we will see all day long today, has chosen the outside lane for the restart.
Ron Silk is going to be tough if he can clear Patrick Emmerling at the green flag. He is going to lead that field down into turn 1. He will hold his position. Again, he's going to be in a tough one to get around, but we'll have to wait and see. Anything can happen when the green drops, and that's going to happen just moments from now.
Getting ready to turn them loose here in the Mohegan Sun 100, field down into turn 3. Some cars have gotten tires, some tires have gotten fuel, others are still out there trying to make that run stretch a little bit closer to halfway. Ron Silk in the outside lane, fresh off a win at the last stop on the tour, and that was at the Oswego Speedway on Labor Day weekend, and the 16 car will lead him back down to the granite stripe in the green flag.
Silk gets the jump that he wanted at the green. Patrick Emmerling tries to hang tough there on the inside, but now he's got to contend with Anthony Nocella up on the outside of him in the number 17. It's a race down the backstretch.
Nocella, a former winner at this race 3 years ago. His banner day in his only career Whelen Modified Tour victory has moved into the second spot, while Emmerling goes toe-to-toe, trying to move into third underneath McKennedy, and he gets the job done off turn 4.
They get back into a straight line here across the stripe. It is Silk with a bit of a comfortable lead, if you will, down into turn 1, but now here's a pass for second as Emmerling gets back underneath the 17 of Nocella.
Emmerling really likes these big wide open racetracks. He won at New Smyrna to start the season. He won at Thompson Speedway in the month of August. Now he's showing speed and strength here as we work towards the midway point of this race, and he is closing in on the race leader, Ron Silk.
Definitely showing some speed. Silk going down the middle of the racetrack, and just behind him some action here. Joey Cipriano, Matt Hirschman, another one that's trying to fight his way to the front. But we look here at a pass of John McKennedy. He's going for it down on the inside of Nocella.
In April, they run the Northeast Classic here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. John McKennedy in that 79 car won the modified portion of that. He's had a lot of speed at this racetrack over the years, has never gotten the win, but he's somebody you can keep an eye on, a part-time runner and a former series champion in that 79, battling side by side for the third spot.
And you see what happens when you pull out of that draft. That's McKennedy now, who lost that battle to Nocella and now starts to fade back, looking for an opportunity to get back up in line. That's how important this draft is to these guys.
He's battling down low, but the motor just pulls down as he comes off the corners. Caution back out again for the second time. We've got another problem down in turn 1 and 2. One car has come to a stop just shy of the safer barrier up there in turn 2. And it's going to be Joey Cipriano out of Waterbury, Connecticut, who has caught the outside wall with that 15 car. Tough break for Cipriano. Has had a couple of runs on the schedule this year, was looking for a solid run here. He's run here a couple of times, but many of them have been shattered with bad luck in that 15 car. His family car coming off a good run at Monadnock Speedway in Winchester, New Hampshire just a couple of months ago, but his day is going to be cut short here on the second caution.
And as you said, a real disappointment to these guys, as he was looking forward to a good run today. And he was in there. He was in the mix for sure, running a little further back in the pack, but obviously competitive, and climbs out of his number 15, takes a look at the damage in the back of the car, looking at all 4 corners of that number 15, but it's going to go off on the hook.
Yeah, heartbreaking for him as he looks at that left rear quarter panel. Once again, the Whelen caution lights are on, the official warning lights of NASCAR, trusted to protect our first responders. They're flashing around this speedway here for the second time in the Mohegan Sun 100. Couple of cars on the pit lane, and among them is Eric Goodale is on pit road. Pit road is open. Ken Hagee is there, along with Chase Dowling and Mike Marshall coming in for service. Dowling in the 44, another former winner here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. He came down pit road, remember, under green flag conditions to get some fuel inside that race car. They were able to get the wave around, get back on the lead lap, so that put them in a little bit of a better position than they were under that green flag condition. So that first caution worked to their favor. Now they come in and get some more service to see if they can improve the speed of the 44 of Dowling. And he was starting to move his way through the field. I was watching him at the tail end, even though he was well behind many of the other cars on track.
Tough break, but he does stay on the lead lap even after coming down on pit road before. So we'll see if he can get anything going now that he's taken on some fuel, and a very slight adjustment on the right front of that 44.
Ken Hagee leading pit road. Ken Hagee in that 18, he is just part of what modified racing is. These are the guys next door. You'll see them with their garage open on a Tuesday night working on their race cars. Ken out of Riverhead, New York, down in Long Island, not far from the Riverhead Raceway, where we'll be going next stop on the tour. He's been part of the tour since 1987, and the tour started in 1985, Pete. Ken Hagee, just a great guy. He's in the seafood business. He works down in Long Island, traveling, bringing seafood up and down as part of his trucking business up and down the eastern seaboard, and he's a guy that is just there, steady as could be, part of the program, and continuing to have another good season for him in that 18 team. Sitting in the 13th position in points, a couple of top 15 runs. They're not the most heavily funded team, but they still put together pretty good programs week in and week out.
Yeah, get some good runs, and listen, if they're having a little fun doing it too, well worth it for sure.
So Ron Silk and the 16 car leading the way in the Mohegan Sun 100. 3 wins this season for Ron Silk, 2-time series champion. And he's won here before, but it's been 6 years since he's won at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. But boy, he's got that winning form here today in the early stages of this way. It's still 18 laps shy of halfway.
And we talked about it earlier, and we saw it happen just before that caution. When you do get out of line, get out of that draft, it happened to John McKennedy. Looked like he was going to be able to move forward by going to the inside, But once those guys started to freight train around him on the outside, he lost 2 or 3 spots in just the course of a lap and a half.
At the top of the broadcast, we talked a lot about how this particular race is one that everybody circles. Modified fans are all here in an early morning race. They have packed this New Hampshire Motor Speedway for a 9:30 start. But the reason for that has been the finishes over the years. Let's take a look back as we celebrate the 40th year of the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour at an event back in 2008 that was a barn burner for sure, and it happened right here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway.
Going to the outside on the last lap, down the backstretch. Christopher continues to lead. One more shot for Chuck Hosfeld. Hosfeld looks to the inside. Christopher gives no room, keeps the door shut. Through the third and fourth turn, Flumpke makes a move on Zegedy. Gets Zegedy loose. Zegedy just rubs the wall. Here they come to the finish, side by side. Hosfeld wins it by a nose. The scoring monitor shows no time between Hosfeld and the 36 of Ted Christopher, but the view from up here showed Hosfeld by a bumper.
What a finish back in 2008. 1/1000th of a second as a dragged race down to the finish. And hey, what do you think about that announcer, Pete? I thought he was pretty good.
It seems like just yesterday, as a matter of fact, right?
Sounds like you. Great call on that one, Pete. You've been part of the action here for a long time.
But we've seen so many races like that. We've gotten to call great races here with the modifieds at New Hampshire. We're considering that this could be exactly the same. We've still got a bunch of laps to go. We haven't even hit the halfway point, but there's been a little bit of drama so far, particularly with losing somebody like Doug Coby, who had high hopes of getting to the front today. He's out early, but, you know, it's so unpredictable here at New Hampshire.
We talked about Matt Hirschman at the start of this one. He is now inside the top 10. Don't take your eye off that yellow and red number 60. He's starting to move forward, even though he started at the back of the pack. So keep an eye on that. Getting ready to go back under the green flag. We're racked up about the same as they were last time through. Ron Silk, the race leader, again has chosen the outside lane. Patrick Emmerling will challenge down to the inside, but Emmerling was making some noise before that caution flag come out. It'll be interesting to see how he challenges Ron Silk on the front row as we get back under the green flag.
Pretty even across the stripe down into turn one. Silk trying to get a little push from John McKennedy right behind him, but Emmerling will lead him down into turn one and off the second turn onto the backstretch.
That's different. Inside lane, the advantage over the race leader, Silk. They'll put that in the memory bank as Patrick Emmerling for the first time today goes to the race lead. So Silk settles back into second. Then they continue to battle for the fourth spot. Anthony Nocella digging down to the inside lane, but here comes Steven Kopsick. We haven't talked about him at all today. He's up to fourth.
Yeah, they know they're going to go at this point with 35 laps into it. That outside lane has the advantage. There's Hirschman up on the outside of Anthony Nocella. Nocella, who was just up there to battle for the lead just before the caution, now mired back several spots.
Yeah, Hirschman trying to work his way forward. The outside lane is certainly working as everybody keeps that momentum wound up. Behind Hirschman is the 22, runner-up here a year ago. That's Kyle Bonsignor. Up front, though, it starts to tighten up again. Ron Silk diving down to the inside in turn number one, sweeps out in front and retakes the race lead.
Yeah, enough confidence in that car to dive down low, let it drift up a little bit through the first and second turn, but it's enough to get ahead of Patrick Emmerling and be back at the point.
Notable difference in the passing zone in this race. Typically turns 3 and 4 is where you see the action, but we've seen a lot of the big moves taking place down in turns 1 and 2. I don't know if that's because of the early morning conditions here that we've got, things just a little different than usual, but for whatever reason, the momentum down the front straightaway seems to be carrying a lot of speed in front of that turn 1 and 2 grandstand, which is one of the best places to watch the action here at the Magic Mile.
That was a great shot of watching them snake down the front stretch, just in an attempt to try and break the draft a little bit, but nothing going. They follow each other in the tire tracks. Same thing down the backstretch. And Silk still in front, feeling the pressure from Patrick Emmerling right behind.
Drivers will tell you that they want to command the race. They want to lead laps because that way they can control their own destiny. And that's why it's so important for both Ron Silk, Emmerling, and McKennedy to continue to apply the pressure for this race lead, because that they feel gives them the best position to win at the end of the day. Emmerling with a run down the back straightaway, right to the back bumper, taps it on the 16 car of Ron Silk and pushes him down into turns 3 and 4.
And hopes that maybe Silk could get up about a half a groove, just enough to let Emmerling in there, but that doesn't happen. It's Silk on defense, and again, leads them down the front stretch.
Down into the corner they go. Positions shuffling a little bit deeper in the field. Craig Lutz starting to the inside, trying to move forward in that 46 car.
See the same battle up front. And again, Emmerling riding right on the back bumper of Ron Silk. We see that often as one car pulls out a line and tries to make a pass on the inside.
I knew, as I said, there wasn't many passes taking place in turns 3 and 4 that somebody was going to do it. So Stephen Kopchik proved me wrong, and I'm glad he did because it was a good move to the inside. He closes into the back bumper of the second place car of Emmerling in turns 1 and 2.
Yeah, he was able to get around John McKennedy, who's been up there within striking distance. And here is our early leader, our pole sitter, Justin Bonsignor, trying to work underneath the cousin of Kyle Bonsignor in the 22. He'll pull back up in line and follow him through 3 and 4.
Remember, Bonsignor came down pit road and got some service here under that first caution of the race, and so that's why he lost some of that track position, but I think that's going to cycle back around among some of the cars up front that still have to come in and get their service. Emmerling looked inside for a moment getting down into turn 1, didn't have the speed that time. He's got a lot of pressure from behind from Stephen Kopchik riding in third, a new challenger inside the top 3.
Yeah, he's feeling that for sure because Kopchik is on the move and looking for any opportunity to get around him. A little further back, just behind all of that, there's Craig Lutz making a move in the 36, gets up behind John McKennedy.
Lutz is there, darting inside into turn number 1, draws alongside and goes right on by John McKennedy. So Lutz continuing to have a strong run as he moves forward. McKennedy now back to 5th, and Tommy Catalano in that red 54 riding there in 6th for the moment because here comes Justin Bonsignor to move to the inside.
Yeah, Justin Bonsignor trying to make that move on Catalano. Right behind him, Mike Christopher Jr. He's got a good run going in that 13.
Christopher in that 13. Lost some ground, though, because he didn't have the drafting help, and everybody's going to go by him. Catalano and Kyle Bonsignor, and Christopher's going to have to go back to the drawing board. His first start here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway in a modified, although he did win a race, as we talked about, at the Jennerstown Speedway earlier in his career a couple of years ago. So no stranger to modified racing, but this racetrack race is different than anything else that they will run at all season long.
Little bit of breathing room. Car length between Ron Silk and Patrick Emmerling as they snake their way down the front stretch once again. None of them, at least at the front 3 or 4, reluctant to pull out a line till they know they can actually make that pass.
Here's Emmerling now for the lead into turn number 3. Sweeps up in front of Ron Silk. Silk following in the tire tracks as they come across the line, and it's Patrick Emmerling now to lead across the granite stripe.
Yeah, he knew it was time and decided to take that chance after following Silk around. Knew when he had to make the move from watching Silk and made it a clean pass that time to go to the front.
They'll gap the third place car of Stephen Kopchik. You see the big run out of Ron Silk as he darts now to the inside to duplicate that move from 1 lap ago. This is a type of racing we are so used to and love here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Silk back to the point.
And he will lead him down across the stripe to complete 47 laps of this, the Mohegan Sun 100 at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Again, a couple of other cars stepping out of line. Among them, Justin Bonsignor getting around Craig Lutz. Now going to work on the inside of John McKennedy as they race down into turn 3.
McKennedy up to 4th. Now Justin Bonsignor up to 3rd. Takes over that spot. Kyle Bonsignor showing strength. He's trying to follow his cousin on through. He's right there, the White Mountain winner from earlier this season.
Bonsignor has timed those passes just right. We were concerned about how far he had to come through the field after making that early pit stop, but it has worked in his favor as he is solidly back inside the top 5.
Kopchik with a big run off the end of the back straightaway. Nearly got to the back bumper of Patrick Emmerling. Not quite enough room to be able to make that move to the inside before they got to turn 3. They will snake to the inside lane through the front straightaway as Ron Silk tries to break the draft. Kopchik right to the back bumper of Patrick Emmerling off turn 2.
He is very patient because there have been several opportunities where he could jump out of line and try to make the pass. And there's one of them right there as he takes a peek down underneath Emmerling. They're going to have to race side by side through 3 and 4. It's not going to work, and he's going to pull back up in line.
Yeah, Emmerling just too strong when he gets back to the gas on corner exit. That seems to be his strength. where Kopsick just not as strong there. He's a little bit better on the entry of the corner. Here's a battle now for the 5th spot. Craig Lutz working inside lane, trying to get back ahead of Justin Bonsignore as they go dead even off turn 2.
Yeah, that's our starting front row side by side going at it. Won't work for Lutz, and as he backs out, it opens the bottom for Kyle Bonsignore, and he drives around in the 22 to pick up a spot.
Kyle Bonsignore continues his steady march to the front. He now finds himself inside the top 5.
Leaders nose to tail. 1, 2, 3 through the first and second turn. Fully aware that Justin Bonsignore, our pole sitter, going for 3 in a row, is trying to catch those guys and get into the mix. Here's Emmerling again with a dive down underneath Silk. He'll make the pass and slide up in front, take the lead, at least for the moment, and trouble.
John Michael Chenette has spun off turn 2. That car is rolling again down the back straightaway, but the caution does come out for the 8 car of John Michael Chenette, and this caution timed just about perfect here as it comes out on lap 52, the 3rd caution of the day, and that's prime pit stop territory for all the cars that want to come in and get another set of tires and get some service.
Yeah, just past the halfway mark. We'll see what everybody decides to do.
So caution out for the 3rd time here today in the Mohegan Sun 100, just past the halfway point. We've seen a couple of the championship contenders and Patrick Emmerling and Justin Bonsignore lead laps today. Those are valuable championship points. We see Austin Beers, who has started to make some progress, but still outside the top 10. And, you know, we should allude to the fact that the 2nd place car early on in the race was Tyler Ripkema. And that 3 car, with those adjustments and the tires, has started to move forward. He's back inside the top 10 right behind Craig Lutz, and he's starting to pick up some ground. And I think it's interesting to see the improvements and the gains that that 3 car of Tyler Ripkema has made here since that caution.
Yeah, we were impressed with his speed yesterday, particularly in qualifying and in the early going of the race today. So Old Blue will be one to watch when we get back under the green flag.
All right, so we'll keep an eye on that Tyler Ripkema machine. Down on the pit lane, we see the Whelen Modified Tour pit crews getting ready to go. A critical pit stop. Track position matters. You can see the drivers that are inside the top 5, and fast cars like Justin Bonsignore have to scrape and claw for everything they can get to pick up positions. These pit stops are very important. 4 brand new tires for the teams. Some may have to take fuel to be able to get to the finish here today, but pit road is open, and the cars look like they're going to come down and get a critical pit stop, which could be the final stop among the leaders for the race today. So everybody in. Ron Silk is there. Patrick Emmerling. Stephen Kopsick in the 21 car. The 79, John McKennedy. 51 of Justin Bonsignore. Throughout the season on the stopwatch, the 1 car of Patrick Emmerling has had the fastest pit crew all year long, but typically the 16 of Silk is there quick as well. Let's go down to pit road and Jesse Punch.
You guys said it, this 1 crew has been fast, and they're on pit road now, taking, looks like 3 tires for Patrick Emmerling. This team has been strong all day. This is their first pit stop they're making, and when I talked with crew chief Dale Hedquist, he said, we feel really good, and we're gonna feel even better when we get into some clean air, which we've been seeing in these last couple laps, as that 1 has been battling the 16 for the lead, and he makes his way off of pit road now.
A good, clean stop, Jesse, for the 1 car of Patrick Emmerling, and he's going to have a good, clean exit, get off of pit lane ahead of some of the others. But there's other stories to play as well, because Eric Goodale came down pit road. He was actually the first car off pit road. Then Patrick Emmerling, good, quick stop for the 3 car of Tyler Ripkema. The race leader is going to lose a couple of spots on pit lane, but you alluded to something, Jesse. The first pit stop of the day for Patrick Emmerling, he likely will have to come and just get a splash of gas to be able to make it the rest of the way. Emmerling's going to stay out for the moment, and he will cycle back around behind Eric Goodale. So the strategies have played out. Pit road complete. Will we see some more drama here at New Hampshire? We'll find out. We're into the second half of the Mohegan Sun 100. Out in front, Patrick Emmerling and Eric Goodale lead the way in New Hampshire. The NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, and a morning edition of a triple header of action here at the Magic Mile. And we are working the third caution of the day. A little bit of a change in the running order here based on where they stacked up in the strategies of pit stop. A couple of teams electing to stay out, a couple of teams coming in for just fuel only, and that will change the running order and hands the race lead over to Sammy Ramu in the 06. Eric Goodale was on and off pit road, fuel only for the 58. They beat everybody back out onto the racetrack. They will restart in second.
Goes right behind them, Patrick Emmerling, Tyler Ripkema, John McKennedy, Ron Silk, Craig Lutz, Kyle Bonsignor. They've all been strong here from the early going of this Mohegan Sun 100. It's going to be interesting when the pace car pulls off and the green flag comes out.
Field racked up, ready to go. Eric Goodale on the front row. Sammy Ramu leading his first laps of the afternoon here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Part-time runner stacked up in the outside lane. Behind them, Patrick Emmerling, Tyler Ripkema. Two very quick cars throughout the race will line up in row number 2. Pace car is in. Field up off turn number 4, looking for the green flag in the Mohegan Sun 100.
Outside row trying to get the push going down into turn 1. Ramo will lead him through 1 and 2. Open on the bottom, but Goodale cannot get the run out of turn 2.
Outside lane prevails once again, and Goodale will backpedal. Here is Ripkema diving down to the inside. He takes the race lead for the first time this afternoon. Ripkema out in front.
Yeah, he saw that opportunity and get down underneath Sam Ramo and is the new leader down across the stripe. Here's Ramo again pulling out a line. He's going to try and pass right back through the first and second turn. Makes that pass, and while the bottom is open, Ron Silk will drive underneath and try to pick up a spot. He'll go to second. Here's Kyle Bonsignor back up front in the number 22. They're side by side, 2 rows back through 3 and 4. Silk will lead them out of turn number 4 and down across the stripe. Back to the point for Ron Silk.
So Silk back out in front. Patrick Emmerling, Meyer deeper in the field. They beat and bang on each other. Catalano up the hill in turn 1, nearly collect the outside wall, and he gets bounced around again in turn number 2.
Great save, but he's being drop kicked back several spots. Did a great job to keep it off the wall and trying to fight for all the positions he can to get back going in the right way.
Catalano had a great day going inside the top 5. They're battling, though, up front, wheel to wheel. Kyle Bonsignor down to the inside. He'll shuffle Sammy Ramu out of the line. Then Patrick Emmerling is right there. 3 wide behind him, and there's contact. Ramu goes spinning down into turn number 1. Somehow, then he catches the outside wall so close. Nearly kept it off the outside wall. Ramo gets in it, 4 cars in all. Anthony Nocella is involved. I believe the Catalano 54 is rolling once again. He too involved in this one. And Gary Putnam in the 77, the other car involved. They were 3 wide getting into turn 1, and there just was not enough room for all of that. Let's take a look at what happened.
Heading down into turn number 1, yeah, contact between Sam Ramo and Tyler Ripkema as Ramo was trying to get down and Ripkema was there.
Sammy Ramu did a nice job at saving that race car. That is a fast part of this racetrack. When you get spun into turn number 1, to be able to get that car rolling again, barely made contact with that Nerf bar, the bar directly behind the right rear tire, or it should be left rear tire, when he went spinning into the corner. And he was able to keep it off the outside wall for the most part. Good job by Sammy Ramu.
The other guy that had a real close call was John McKennedy, because Ramo was coming across the racetrack before he started to spin up towards the wall, and looked like he might have caught the right rear of John McKennedy, but McKennedy was able to keep going. So Ramo involved in that caution flag. Also right behind him, the 17. Tough break for Anthony Nocella, who's had a good run going today as well.
So let's re-rack it for you here. So we've got Ron Silk as a race leader. Kyle Bonsignor has shown some strength here as of late. Patrick Emmerling, 3rd, 4th for John McKennedy, and 5th is Tyler Ripkema in the 3. Justin Bonsignor, 6th, 7th for Craig Lutz, 8th is Trevor Catalano. After starting on the front row, Eric Goodale has shuffled back to the 9th spot, and Stephen Kopchik now in 10th. A couple of the cars that were involved And the most recent cautions coming down pit lane for service and adjustments on those cars, including Anthony Nocella, who will get a splash of gas, and the Davini-owned number 17. Nocella's been running a lot of other divisions as well. He's in sprint car racing now, expanding what he's been able to do, and as a great driver and a former winner here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway in the Whelen Modified Tour.
He's always been very good in the open wheel ranks. He was a big-time runner in the Northeastern Midget Association Light Division, which was before he got into modifieds. But since then, he's run some pretty big open wheel events out in the Midwest, and currently is campaigning a sprint car out there. And has a lot of fun doing it. He told us yesterday that it's a whole new thing for him, a whole new deal, but he's in some great equipment when he's running out in the Midwest in his sprint car, and he'll be doing more of it as the season goes on.
So working under the caution here as part of the Mohegan Sun 100, we were talking a little bit earlier in the day about the one car of Patrick Emmerling. Well, that car is another car that's going to be doing double duty this weekend because he is also running for Spire Motorsports in the Craftsman Truck Series later on in the day today as part of their Team EJP 175. The first time the Craftsman Truck Series have been back at New Hampshire Motor Speedway since the 2017 season and the cutoff race for their round of 10 to set the round of 8 field in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series playoff. So a couple of the drivers in the field, both Mike Christopher Jr. and Patrick Emmerling, will be double duty today here at New Hampshire. Of course, Emmerling has been running for the past couple of seasons in the Xfinity Series as well and getting much more experience at the national level in NASCAR.
You mentioned as a two-time winner in 2025, he likes the big tracks, and as he won at New Smyrna and again at Thompson, and obviously a lot of liken to this big, wide, sweeping Magic Mile.
Yeah, and they do things different, that team. They do not follow the traditional work and the traditional setups that other teams do, and I think over the past little bit that has worked for them, and it's working right now. Pete, one of the things that they've done different, Jesse Punch was able to follow up with us on this, is that they have only come down pit road one time. Typically, you need a little bit of gas to go the whole way here. Not a lot, but just enough to go the whole way. They got their 4 tires. They got their track position. We get down towards the end of 36 laps to go. Seems like Patrick Emmerling and that team is going to try to do a one-stop race, and that's a bit of a surprise coming into this race weekend here in New Hampshire. And they've got a different strategy, and it seems to be working for them right now. They've got a fast race car. They're up inside that top 2 rows.
Well, they're one team that's hoping it goes green the rest of the way, that's for sure, because caution laps don't help them any. And we're about ready to go back to green flag racing.
As we get ready to get back under the green flag here, they'll come up off turn number 4 with Ron Silkin on the front row, along with Kyle Bonsignor on the bottom lane of the racetrack. We'll go back down to pit lane here for a quick update on that story with Patrick Emmerling. Jesse, what is the latest with their pit strategy and how they approach the race today?
Yeah, I just wanted to follow up on what you were speculating. You mentioned that we most likely will have to see this team come back down for
Jesse, hold on. Trouble on the back straightaway. Ron Silk into the outside wall. Pounds the outside back straightaway. They made contact coming up off turn number 2, and Ron Silk, heavy right front damage to the 16 car, and he is limping down the back straightaway.
He will not get very far before coming to a stop at the entrance to turn 3. And that was wild at the beginning, coming out of turn 2, and ran out of racetrack, caught that right side on the safer barrier on the backstretch. And we're under caution before completing a lap.
We'll keep an eye on Ron Silk. Jesse, let's get back to you. A critical story down on pit lane here with the one car of Patrick Emmerling. They are doing this different. Fill us in on what their thinking is with the one car and the strategy that they have for the race today.
Well, as you guys had laid out earlier, strategy is ever changing down here on pit road, but when it comes to fuel, crew chief Dale Hedquist says they're pretty much in that window that he's not concerned about needing to come back down pit road for a splash of fuel. However, now that caution has come out, the team has jumped up on the pit wall. They do have 1 tire. They've changed 3. They have that 4th tire ready to go. We'll see if they bring him down and change that 4th one. But when it comes to the fuel game, as you were speculating, this one team feels pretty good about where they're at.
All right, this is a whole different game, Jesse. Thank you for that. There you see the team on the pit lane. So we'll keep an eye on Patrick Emmerling, Dale Hedquist, and what they try to do. All right, lots going on. Let's recap what happened off turn 2. Here's another look at the incident on the restart. Ron Silk in the outside lane got shuffled out. We'll see all of it here. They came up off the corner. Emmerling is racing to the bottom. Silk was already sideways, but look at the contact that Emmerling made when Silk was out of shape, and he came across the inside nose. Into the outside wall went Silk. Might have gotten a little help after he had already lost some pace with the 79 car of John McKennedy. Looked like Steven Kopsick got a piece of that as well. So chaos on the back straightaway, and with the entire field bearing down on them, that could have been the big one here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway in this drafting style competition.
And that could have been a lot worse, particularly where that was happening at the front of the field. As he got sideways, tagged the wall, started to come back across, just clipped Patrick Emmerling's right front. And a bunch of other guys really maneuvered to get around Silk, who at that point was just holding on for the ride across the racetrack. A couple of other guys rubbing the wall and so forth after that. We'll have to see if they come to pit road, any of those that might have rubbed on Silk or the wall, to make some changes to the car.
And I think one of them's coming right now. It's Patrick Emmerling. We didn't see it until the replay came out. Possible damage on the right front of the 1 car for Emmerling. That car went over the left side tire of the 16 car. Jesse Punch is there. Jesse, dramatic here. Right front damage potential for the 1 of Patrick Emmerling.
You're right about that, not knowing the damage until the replay. The team down here on pit road was watching the pylon. Once they saw exactly what happened, everybody, including Dale Hedquist, sprung to work on this race car. Things changed so quickly down here. I was just reporting on the confidence of this team, knowing they're in the fuel window, they have what it takes. And now, after just a few laps, they're changing that right front tire. This will be a they will have now changed all 4 tires this race. However, they have not taken any fuel, and this will have quite an impact on their track position, which, as we know, is huge here at New Hampshire.
Yeah, there's a handful of cars, 18 cars right now, Jesse, that are on the lead lap. And Patrick Emmerling in this team will be at the tail end of that. Steven Kopchick is also on pit lane because he had left side damage as well, and he's going to make some improvements there on that 21 car, another car that was running quick. But this has pretty big implications. I think we alluded to it earlier, how this race could change the championship picture. Justin Bonsignor has been at the front just about all day. Craig Lutz has been up front. As we get another look at the incident here and the contact with that right front tire, how the suspension flexed. The entire car came off the ground for Patrick Emmerling. Both front tires airborne for a moment after the contact was made, as Silk made that heavy contact in the outside lane. And we had one look at it, Pete, but from my perspective, the 16 car was already sideways when that happened. It wasn't Emmerling tapping that left front tire of Ron Silk. Silk was out of shape to the outside lane, his car cutting across the racetrack when contact was made with Emmerling from the one replay look that we had.
Yeah, it just seemed to step out on him, that back end swinging out, and he was up about as high as he could go and into the wall. Again, lucky that he did not get completely sideways and coming across in front of everybody, but probably the hardest hit was Patrick Emmerling. Amazing that there's not more damage to the right front of that number 1, the way that car jumped up in the air. We'll have to see when they go back to green. Might have knocked the toe out a little bit. I'm sure they looked at that when he came in on pit road, but that was pretty good contact that he made with Ron Silk.
He didn't come back down pit road, so it tells me on these long straightaways here at New Hampshire, after that new tire was put on, he probably let go of the wheel for a second and made sure that the car was still going to roll straight. And it did that, it appears, so he's going to stay out onto the racetrack and continue on here as we get toward the finish. We'll see 30 laps to go when the field rolls across this time by, and Kyle Bonsignor is being shown as the race leader. Matt Kimball in the 43, that's at the front of the field. He is the first car a lap down. He will get the wave around when we get the 1 to go signal and rejoin on the lead lap at the tail end of the field. So McKennedy in the 79 sitting second. Justin Bonsignor now third, and then fourth for Tyler Ripkema. Where is Austin Beers? Came in as the championship point leader. He's on the bottom half of the top 10, seeing if he can keep pace with Justin Bonsignor, because as it looks right now, that championship point lead is going to dwindle significantly between the 51 and the 64 of Austin Beers, who came in as a championship point leader.
Yeah, Bonsignor in the 51 is another one that benefited from some evasive driving there on the backstretch because he was right there when Silk was coming back across the racetrack too. So a couple of more stops on pit road.
Patrick Emmerling, one of them. And he is on pit road. They did some work on the right rear of that car, did some work on the right front of the car. I do believe that was not repairs per se. I think it was more adjustments by the way they get that car rolling. But he's going to have to hustle here to catch up to the tail end of the field and be able to be in position to catch this green flag at the right time. But they are going to wave it off because of the lineup a little out of order there along the back straightaway. So they're going to wait one more time.
And that's a break for those guys that just came off of pit road. Anthony Nocella, Eric Goodale, and of course Patrick Emmerling being able to catch the back of the pack before we go green.
I think some of it was the 43 of Matt Kimball did not come back around when they came across the start-finish line this time by. And had he stayed out on the racetrack, he would have been scored a lap down of the leaders and been in the wrong position on the racetrack. So they'll come to the one to go here this time through. They'll release the 43 car of Matt Kimball. He'll have to navigate all the way around the Magic Mile, rejoin at the tail end of the field, and that'll allow everybody to get lined up properly for the restart.
Well, we've got some heavy hitters up front ready for this restart for sure. Don't count out Kyle Bonsignor, a winner already in 2025. At the White Mountain Motorsport Park, just up the road here from New Hampshire Motor Speedway. He is up there. John McKennedy looking to break into the win column here in 2025. Our pole sitter, Justin Bonsignor, and Tyler Ripkema, who's been fast all weekend, make up the second row.
What a weekend it has been for Tyler Ripkema, and he has never won on the Whelen Modified Tour. An old blue, the blue number 3, lining up to the outside lane. It has not been a great season for that 3 car, but a win today would turn it all around. The field tightening up as they head to turn number 3. We'll see the green flag this time by. Still a long way to go. 28 laps to go in the Mohegan Sun 100 at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. The race leader, Kyle Bonsignor, has elected the outside lane. McKennedy in the 79 to the inside from Chelmsford, Massachusetts, as they roll back through the restart zone. Green flag is out, but they are wrecking again on the front straightaway, and it is Kyle Bonsignor who catches the outside wall. He got the bumper from Justin Bonsignor when he did not come up to speed, and the caution is blackout, along with Ken Hagee is in it, and Gary Putnam again, a 4-car incident along the front straightaway.
And another one that could have been a lot more damaging the way Bonsignor came across in front of the field. He's able to drive away, and apparently no damage to that number 22, but a big disappointment from where he was restarting, and now where he's going to have to get back into line for the next restart of this race.
Similar to what we saw a little while ago when Sammy Ramu went down into turn 1 and spun. That car made gentle contact with the outside wall. I think the 22 seemed to hit it pretty good here along the front straightaway. When they got back under the green flag, we'll take a look at it here in a minute to see exactly how it all transpired. McKennedy will be the new race leader, but watch the outside lane. It seemed like the 22 just either did not come up to speed. Eventually, it was the 51 of Justin Bonsignor tapping his cousin in the bumper and spinning him around the outside lane. John Michael Chenette spinning to the bottom along with Gary Putnam involved as well.
It looked like McKennedy got the jump there at the start, and Kyle Bonsignor appeared to try to dive to the inside to protect the bottom. Unfortunately, Justin Bonsignor was there.
And Tyler Ripkema coming up through the gears in line behind them as well. So a restart issue here for the 22 of Kyle Bonsignor, and that puts him behind the 8 ball near at the tail end of the field. And I think if you follow that Patrick Emmerling story, good in a way. He picks up 4 free positions by the cars that have spun out of the way, but not good because he's losing laps under a green flag condition to be able to make his way from outside the top 15 to be a contender again back at the front of the field. A couple of cars down on pit road. Let's go back downstairs to Jesse Punch. Oh, Jesse working on an interview there in a moment. We'll get up with her as Patrick Emmerling back down on pit road for more service in that 1 car. If you're just joining us here at the racetrack, we welcome you to New Hampshire Motor Speedway here, the Mohegan Sun 100 for the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour, getting into the waning stages. 26 laps to go. The race early on dominated by Justin Bonsignor. We've seen 5 cautions here to our most recent caution, and it has been dramatic. Everybody's been on and off pit road. They've gotten their tires, they've gotten their fuel. Now they're trying to stretch this to the finish, and a couple of the veterans up in front, former series champions John McKennedy and Justin Bonsignor in the 51, who was going for his 3rd consecutive win here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. And some drivers up at the front of the field, like Tyler Ripkema, who want their first career win in the 3-car, and Craig Lutz, who's had a great season as well. But Pete, the story of the afternoon in the second half of this race, I should say morning, habit of saying afternoon, the story of the morning is Patrick Emmerling and his recent problems along the back straightaway and the repairs that they've had to make to that one.
As we predicted, probably more damage than it looked like initially. Heavy work going on the right front of that number 1, and we said with the kind of contact that he had, there had to be something more than just changing that right front tire. So the work continues, and that's a tough break for a guy that was fast here today.
All right, Jesse Punch has been able to catch up with the driver who was leading early on in this race. Let's go trackside to Jesse.
Yeah, guys, Ron Silk and that 16 team leading this race. Now Ron is back here in the garage, suit tied around his waist. Ron, what happened?
I don't know. I'd like to give you a better answer, but I just ran out of talent. Got loose off turn 2 and thought I could control it and kind of hit the fence right rear first, and then it ripped the right front in, and it's just along for the ride after that. But I don't know if I messed anyone else's day up. I hope I didn't. Thank you to my whole team. I had a great car. Disappointed with how it ended.
Thanks for the time, Ron.
Ron Silk, a 3-time winner here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, and a 2-time series champion. I don't think Ron Silk will ever run out of talent. He is an amazing driver, a very uncharacteristic mistake for him, not something that we normally see, and an unfortunate end when he had a very fast race car.
We'll rule it a misstep, if you will, and just got out from under him, and he did the best he could, that's for sure. And we keep hitting on the point that it could have been a lot worse for a lot of the other guys. It appears that the biggest damage came to Patrick Emmerling, who still sits on pit road for repairs. See Kyle Bonsignor pulling out of his pit stall. He changed right side tires on that number 22 by virtue of the fact that he spun across the racetrack on that restart. Has to go to the back anyway, so they take advantage of that time to spend on pit road. But extended pit stop for Patrick Emmerling with that damage on the right front.
Emmerling has now gone a lap down, and if you're just joining us, not only was Emmerling a fast race car here today, well, he was also in the championship mix. He was only a couple of points out of the second place position coming into this race. He was 3rd, 22nd behind, now a lap down, and a very full field here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. If he continues to stay on pit road, there's a couple of more spots, at least one that he can lose. And with Justin Bonsignor running up front, Austin Beers now continuing to try to move his way forward, and Matt Hirschman and Craig Lutz all having a good day, this could be devastating for the championship hopes of Patrick Emmerling here with just 3 races to go after today. Emmerling's had a great season in a sense, with 2 victories this year, but I think it's been those tough days where he's had those DNFs that have cost him the ability to be up there and leading the championship points as they sit on pit road, go another lap down. They'll clean up some of the racetrack here along the front straightaway. Emmerling on pit road will step aside inside of 24 laps to go in the Mohegan Sun 100. Back here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, the Mohegan Sun 100 for the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour, and this one certainly has had ups and downs for many of the teams that were running up front early in the day today, but now all of a sudden the drama has changed, and John McKennedy is out in front. Justin Bonsignor, who won the pole to start the race, now finds himself in the second position, and the rest of the field back behind them has certainly been challenging for the race lead. Because of the work that's being done here along the front straightaway and into turn one, they're going to bring these modifieds down pit lane here for a moment, just to be able to allow those safety vehicles to be able to work around turns 1 and 2 and just get some of the fluid that was laid down here on the racetrack under this most recent caution. They've got some of our track services vehicles working down along the back straightaway, as well as there's quite a bit of fluid laid down here on the New Hampshire Motor Speedway racetrack. So they're going to bring them all the way down to the pit out, stop there, and then bring the cars to a pause here along the pit lane.
Yeah, they wanted to pick up some of that speedy dry over there in 1 and 2. Sometimes that's like driving on sand, if you will, and particularly with how hard the charges will be once we get back to green flag racing. We've got the distance of a good old Saturday night shootout left to go here in Mohegan Sun 100. And the cleanup continues on the track surface. And once those safety vehicles clear the track, we'll be able to put the modifieds back out there for the restart. As we said, we're on lap 77, 23 laps to go in the Mohegan Sun 100.
Well, Jesse, this has been a wild morning of action here in the Whelen Modified Tour. Plenty of action down in the pit lane. What's the latest?
Efforts continue down here as the one team is making some adjustments on this car. More than adjustments at this point. It's my understanding that after that contact with the 16, the shock tower broke. So you can see the crew out there trying to replace that part here and hopefully get the one back out there. But you guys have laid it out. There are huge championship implications on the line. This team has had a strong run all day long. And now this is throwing a wrench in their plans here as we have the laps, what was it, just under 30 laps to go? It's going to get interesting here in these last few, guys.
Yeah, devastating, Pete, and I think you highlighted it. It was amazing that there wasn't more damage, at least what we thought initially for Patrick Emmerling. Seemed like when he went back out onto the track, maybe it broke the rest of the way after that airborne launch there. That's the top of the shock tower where the right front would bolt on. You see the silver piece is where they attach the hood on these race cars. So a bolt-on piece for this race car, but a lot of work. And if anything got bent in there, it's hard to get those chassis to move back in a way where it'll all get bolted back together. Not an easy fix for Patrick Emmerling and this team, and they are going to lose a lot of time. The advantage for them, the caution flag is still out. They have not thrown the red flag, and that team has a little bit more time to be able to work on that right side. Down in the infield, the 54 car of Tommy Catalano. He had a good run going early in the day, but now he has to relinquish a position just outside the top 10, and he has pulled that number 54 back to the hauler. So another good day for Catalano here in New Hampshire, but not a result for him to finish it.
Tough break for both of those guys. As we talked about how this is going to shake up the point standings, we were talking about it as far as finishing position goes, but now with some of these cars out of the race, we'll definitely see a difference in the order of the point standings when we leave New Hampshire.
Lots of stories as we work under this caution period to clean up some fluid there on the back straightaway here at New Hampshire. Under the red flag here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway in the Mohegan Sun 100. And the red flag put out. We've got cleanup going on out on the racetrack under this most recent caution. Let's take a look at exactly how we got here to the point where the cars paused on pit lane. This was a restart not too long ago. Kyle Bonsignor shuffled out of line, and then contact with the 51 of Justin Bonsignor sent him across the racetrack. Ended up being a 4-car incident in all. Nobody really all that terribly damaged. John Michael Chenette went spinning. Gary Putnam in the middle of this as well, but 4 cars involved in the incident that brought us under the most recent caution. They brought the cars down the pit lane and then have since put the red flag out, but there was fluid just about all the way around the magic mile here, and so that necessitated the need to get these cars down on pit lane so we can see green flag racing to the finish of what is, Pete, been 77 races now of the Whelen Modified Tour. You have been through many of them here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, and this particular track has always awed us. It's been inspiring to see what these modifieds can do, and you were highlighting earlier some of those close finishes that you have seen at this racetrack, and there have been many.
And if history repeats itself, which I'm sure that it will, we'll see the same thing today, because we've got some guys up front that are digging to try and get to the front, and particularly to visit victory lane for the first time here at New Hampshire, like Tyler Ripkema, Craig Lutz, and the guy that's leading this event, John McKennedy. You mentioned earlier that he won a modified race here at the spring event, which is an open modified race that they have. So he certainly knows his way around here, but he would like to get to the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour victory lane, particularly here at New Hampshire.
And this race is so different. You look at a variety of different modified series, and even when they race that open show here, the pit stop factor doesn't come into play. That fuel factor doesn't come into play. In modified racing, the tires are so critical in this style of racing. If you watch the national series, they talk about, quarter-pound adjustments of air pressure. It's really fine-tuned. And with the modifieds, that type of impact here at this level is similar in many ways. John McKennedy and that team, they don't run full-time on the Whelen Modified Tour. And that really puts them at a disadvantage from the crews that are out there every race, every week, changing tires, doing fuel, and understanding what that strategy looks like. But now that they've gotten through that pit stop and all that's behind them, the fact that they're in the race lead this late in the going, I think has gotten John McKennedy right where he is comfortable, because he is one of the best drivers in the Northeast when it comes to making a car last at the end of a run and having long run speed. McKennedy out in front is a factor that we were expecting today, but with 23 laps to go, he's certainly in the catbird seat here as we eye the checkered flag.
Yeah, very strategic team. They go into it with a plan, and he won a modified race actually last Saturday night at the Star Speedway in Epping, New Hampshire, just down the road here from Loudon, and it was competing actually in both modifieds and in super modifieds, and he had a podium finish in his super modified too. So he is a campaigner that will drive just about anything, just about anywhere, but this is where he wants to win, particularly on this stage, the New Hampshire Motor Speedway NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour stage, and he's got a lot on the line up there when he restarts in the first position when we get this thing going.
One other driver that we've alluded to a lot but haven't shown him a lot, the 64 car of Austin Beers, has navigated now solidly inside the top 10. He is a driver that came in that 64 from Northampton, Pennsylvania as a championship point leader this season, but a narrow margin over Justin Bonsignor. He's a younger driver in the series, been on the series a couple of years, spends a lot of time racing out in Western New York, and is a championship caliber driver, has been in the mix before, but has never been this deep into a season leading the championship in the Whelen Modified Tour. It's uncharted territory for him, and they have had the pressure put on them. Struggled yesterday in practice, struggled yesterday in qualifying, ended up starting pretty deep in the field back in the 18th spot. To be able to be running in the 7th position at this point in time, can they salvage today? Can they get that top 5 finish that will keep them at pace with Justin Bonsignor and be in position into the final 3 races of the season to be able to contend for that first elusive Whelen Modified Tour championship?
Key right now is to stay out of trouble, as some of the guys that we thought would have pretty good days, such as Kyle Bonsignor and Ron Silk, have gotten into trouble and are kind of out of the running. We know that Silk is completely out of the event, and Bonsignor's had to go on pit road after his spin on the restart. So that's going to be a key for Austin Beers. Stay out of trouble, try to move to the front, but you're right. He's come from way back, and because there's so much on the line for him in this race when it comes to the point standings, he's going to want to advance as well as he can, but certainly avoid trouble.
Let's go down to pit road and hear more from Jesse Punch.
Down here in the 51 pit with crew chief Ryan Stone, tell me, at this point in the race, what are we looking at strategy-wise for this 51 team?
We're done pitting. I don't know if there's much strategy left in this race. There's 20 some odd laps to go, and you just got to get through it. There's been some tough restarts. There's been a lot of carnage the second half of this race. So hopefully that's the end of all that, and we can get to the end of here, get this restart going and finish this thing out clean and have a good race with McKenney and the guys there right with us, and finish it off strong. We need a win. We've been sort of stubbing our toe here lately. We need a good solid day.
You know Justin better than anyone. Is his confidence high? Is he saying anything on the radio?
Yeah, he's very high. The car's really good. We just need to get back out to the lead and control the race. It becomes a whole lot easier from that point, but we stopped for some fuel just to be cautious, and that's lost us some track position. It took us about the rest of the race to get it back. So we're about where we need to be. We just got to be one spot better.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you.
The thoughts of Ryan Stone, a championship-winning crew chief with Justin Bonsignor. Bonsignor, a four-time champion. Ryan Stone, up in the Northeast, spent a lot of time around modifieds, but he moved down south a handful of years ago to work for Junior Motorsports, and he worked on the 7 car of Justin Allgaier. He brought what was already a very talented career as a mechanic and at times a driver of modified racing back with him to the Northeast in the Whelen Modified Tour. And when he and Justin Bonsignor hooked up, they all of a sudden had the magic that have put them on what is really heading towards a Hall of Fame career. If you've been in the Northeast and covered modified racing for a long time, you know the name of Mighty Mike Stefanik, who leads in championships, a 7-time series champion, and a catalog of wins that puts him #1. Justin Bonsignor wants to match those records, and he, at his age, young enough to do it, young enough to catch Mike Stefanik at the pace that he has been able to win both championships and race wins. And Bonsignor, a driver that is hungry for that 5th championship at the end of the season, and he's got the capability of doing it, because if you know Justin Bonsignor, the last 3 to 4 races of the season, Pete, that's when he gets hot.
Yeah, for sure. And a guy that is confident. Confidence is like horsepower. And if you can carry that confidence into these races, and he certainly felt that yesterday, held his head high and had great expectations for the weekend. Qualified on the pole and now running up front and restarting in the front row. He has got to be one that we're definitely going to watch. Ryan Stone said it. If we can get back out in front and control this race, we're in good shape. Look for that when the green flag comes out.
Coming into this race a year ago, 4 races from the end of the season, Justin Bonsignor was similarly behind the championship points. He won the final 3 races of the season, and he won the championship. They've got that in the back of their mind, and they want to kick it off here in New Hampshire. And the drivers have told us before the race, it's important in the end stages. We'll have 20 laps to go. Control of the race is important. What does that mean? They want the lead. They want everybody else to have to force their hand behind, and they want to control the pace. Expect that on the restart. You're going to see a bit of aggressiveness. It's going to ratchet up here a little bit as we're within 20 laps of the finish here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway in a marquee event for the Whelen Modified Tour. The field doubled up in turns 3 and 4, ready for the restart at the Magic Mile.
Pace car dips off as they come out of turn 4, and they head for the stripe. Green flag is in the air. We're back underway.
Powering up through the gears, looking for a clean start. Craig Lutz pounding on the back bumper of John McKennedy as they come across the line. And McKennedy pushing forward to the outside lane. To the bottom, though, Justin Bonsignor rallies back, but it's McKennedy to lead the charge off turn 2.
Down the backstretch, it's McKennedy, but Bonsignor right there. They're almost 3 wide behind them. A move on the inside by Rikpuma in the number 3. He's going to take Justin Bonsignor to task and kind of shoves Bonsignor up the track a little bit and takes over that 2nd spot.
That's about as aggressive as you will see that 3 car. For Tyler Ripkema, shoving Justin Bonsignor out of the way off turn number 4 and charging to the position. Anthony Nocella way up the hill in turn 2 is going to lose about 7 spots deeper in the pack.
Here is Ripkema knocking on the back door of the 79 McKennedy. Ripkema wants to make that pass and put McKennedy between himself and Justin Bonsignor as they race out of 4.
But Tyler Ripkema has gone to the afterburners. Here comes Bonsignor looking inside off the end of the front straightaway, but tucks it back in line.
Not quite ready to get out of line and possibly give up a spot. He'll follow those guys down the backstretch. Ripkema with a great run out of turn 2, right up to the back bumper of McKennedy, but he too will not dip out of line.
Look at who's in the mix now. It's the 44 of Chase Dowling. Dowling now up to 4th. He won the big race, the 250-miler back in 2018, but Craig Luntz now to the inside. Bonsignor now to the bottom for 3rd. Make it 2nd for Bonsignor underneath Tyler Ripkema.
Yeah, makes a great move there through 1 and 2. Drives by him on the inside, and they with a head of steam going after John McKennedy. Bonsignor going for more. Down on the inside in turn 3.
Taking control of the race for Justin Bonsignor. He goes out in front. McKennedy tries to pull to the inside, but doesn't have the momentum as they come back to the line. Bonsignor will lead at the stripe.
Exactly where he wanted to be. 16 laps to go. Bonsignor will lead that train out of turn 2 and down the backstretch.
Look who's in the mix. The black number 13 is there. It's Christopher. Mike Christopher Jr. now inside the top 5, and that 13 car is flying in the late going.
What an accomplishment. For a car that had not even seen the racetrack, they didn't even test that car before coming here. Brand new race car with Uncle Ted's colors on it, and he is racing to the front.
Ripkema now going back under Bonsignor, slides him up again in turn 2. Bonsignor not going to take that kindly, McKennedy not going to take that kindly there as they roll through turns 1 and 2. Ripkema on the move. Have never seen the Tyler Ripkema number 3 as aggressive as he has been here today in search of that first victory.
And he knows he has to be as they get into the late stages of this, the Mohegan Sun 100. They dice it back and forth down the front stretch. And through the first and second turn, Bonsignor large and in charge out of 2 and down the backstretch. They're all chasing the 51.
Austin Beers has rallied up to 6th, the farthest forward he has been. Here's a move for 4th. Inside lane, it's Christopher. He shuffles Chase Dowling out of line.
Down here across the stripe, Ripkema banging on the back bumper of Bonsignor's number 51. Looking for an opportunity. Bonsignor protecting the bottom of the racetrack as they head out of turn 2 and down the backstretch.
You study the competition. You know what moves they're going to make. Mike Christopher Jr. has not raced in this series very often. He has not raced against these competitors very often, and I think that'll work to his advantage because his opponents do not know what he's capable of, do not know what he's willing to do to win.
Again, Bonsignor making it difficult to pull out a line and test him on the bottom. Ripkema itching to get up alongside. A little bit of breathing room on the backstretch, but we'll watch that evaporate as they go into turn 3. Here's a move by Christopher.
Like days of old, it's a Christopher in a 13 car. Gold leaf numbers. Running in the 3rd position. 11 laps to go as they come to the line this time by. They snake that draft down the front straightaway. Bonsignor to protect that lead with Ripkema and Christopher sitting in 3rd.
Off the second turn and on the backstretch, it's still Bonsignor. A car length between himself and Ripkema. But again, that evaporates as they head into 3. They go nose to tail through the 3rd and 4th turn.
McKennedy back into the 4th spot. Everybody trying to plot out their strategy. Ripkema into the back bumper of the 51 of Justin Bonsignor as they cross the stripe.
When do they want to pull out a line and make a chance? It may be too soon for any heroics at this point as they follow each other down into the 3rd and 4th turn.
Last couple of laps in the 3rd position, Christopher has been holding back a little bit and working on building runs into turn number 3. Ripkema for the lead, though, tucked right up under the back bumper of Justin Bonsignor again. And Bonsignor exactly where he wants to be, in control, leading here. Inside of 9 laps to go at the Magic Mile.
Yeah, he's seen this story before. Bonsignor has to hold off, charging competitors behind him. This time, it's Tyler Ripkema. who has all his wishes in the basket, wanting to get the victory lane here at New Hampshire. Again, he follows him across the stripe and down into turn 1.
Tyler Ripkema has never been in this position before. He's a veteran of the Whelen Modified Tour, but has no victories to show for it. Their best finish of the season is 6th, and he's in position to win one of the biggest races on the schedule as he rides in 2nd behind Justin Bonsignore.
Bonsignore on defense continues to protect the bottom, not allowing Ripkema to take a charge and get down underneath.
Today, the 83rd start for Tyler Ripkema in his storied career. Here is Christopher, though. Bottom shot move in turn number 1. Like his Uncle Ted showed him, to the inside lane, going toe-to-toe now for 2nd over Tyler Ripkema.
Ripkema holds tough up on the outside. They're 2x2 going into turn 3. Ripkema able to hold him off for the moment, but we've got smoke and trouble going into turn number 3.
Kyle Bonsignore hard into the outside wall in turn 3. Chase Dowling is there. John McKennedy got hooked together going into turn 3 on the bottom. Trevor Catalano has spun. Eric Goodale is involved as well. Sammy Ramu, and there's the damage on the 79. He and the 44 of Chase Dowling got collected and connected together as they raced down into the corner off the end of the back straightaway. Here's a look at it here. Outside lane, Dowling got tapped across the nose of the 79 of John McKennedy, and the two just stuck together. The right front tire behind the left front tire, stuck in between the Nerf bar and the tire, was McKennedy.
Yeah, and that, of course, flattened the right front on McKennedy, and that's what they're going to work on right now. Tough break for him as he was solidly in the front. And a late race incident with just a handful of laps to go. They got to change the right front, and he's got to go to the back.
And behind that, Kyle Bonsignore's car got spun head first into the outside wall and ended up hitting driver's side first below the Toyota banner down in turns 3 and 4. And he took a heck of a hit, and that car now has rolled down to the apron. Track services crew down there working. A couple of cars still on the racetrack, including the 56 of the young Trevor Catalano as well. The 22 of Kyle Bonsignore still at that end of the racetrack. Just about everybody else has been able to roll away, including the 58 of Eric Goodale, who at one point in time was leading this race for a handful of laps.
Be interesting to see if anything happened with Chase Dowling's left front, where he was locked in with John McKennedy's right front. He's been able to stay out on the racetrack, scored in the 3rd position right now, but not sure whether that incident will have any effect on the car, particularly when we go back to green flag racing.
Trevor Catalano out of his race car, walking to the safety services crew in that 56 car. He was inside the top 10 throughout the day. So caution flag out here again in the Mohegan Sun 100. 5 laps shy of the finish. We'll be back after this. Well, down to the final few laps of the Mohegan Sun 100. This one likely to go to overtime. They have gotten the Kyle Bonsignore 22 car on the back of the record, pulling that car off the racetrack in turns 3 and 4. The trophy awaits here in Victory Lane Magic Mile. The first of 3 that'll be handed out here this weekend. Craftsman Truck Series playoff race still yet to come. NASCAR Cup Series playoff race, the opening race of the round of 12 to be played out here tomorrow. And that just makes it a huge weekend for these modified drivers who race up and down the East Coast, running various short tracks around the country. And if you haven't had the opportunity to go and visit a local short track near you in the state of New Hampshire, maybe down in Massachusetts like the Seekonk Speedway, or over at one of the speedways in Connecticut, Thompson Speedway or Stafford Speedway in Connecticut, these modifieds and this style of racing happens all the time at those racetracks. And that's really the heart of Northeastern racing. Pete, you are a big part of that, traveling all throughout New England all summer long, and it's a lot of fun, not only when the Cup Series are in town like weekends like this.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun to watch them on a track like this, and the drama runs deep, but to see them on a track like Riverhead where they'll be going, it's truly amazing for them when they get on a really short track like that.
Let's go back down to pit lane. John McKennedy has been involved in this latest incident. Jesse Punch has more.
You guys were speculating on what the damage might look like on that 79 car. They just brought it back down pit road. Doesn't look like a ton of body damage, but they did change both rear tires and sent that car back out on the track. Not a lot of damage, but unfortunately very disappointing for this 79 team, who was having an incredibly strong run here this afternoon.
Jesse, it's a bit of that history of John McKennedy here. He has had great runs, but at the finish, something always goes awry for him in that 79. Former series champion of a couple of years ago, not going to be in the mix here as we get toward the end of it. We will apparently be going into overtime. We'll see what happens here as the field rolls through turns 3 and 4. A bit of cleanup there at the outside of the corner for the safety services vehicle, and they have slowed the pace car down just enough to extend the length of this race, but they crossed the line. 3 laps remain, so it will be at least a 2-lap shootout to settle the Mohegan Sun 100, and it has been a wild one. Pete, you talked about the schedule coming up for the Whelen Modified Tour. Coming up, a rain postponed event down at the Riverhead Raceway. So we'll go from one of the biggest events to one of the smallest events. 2 weeks from now, October 4th, a Saturday evening at the Riverhead Raceway, a tight bull ring where you use the chrome horn and tempers more than anything else. No finesse there. It's all about bulldogging your way through. Thompson Speedway Motorsports Park is part of the traditional World Series of Speedway racing down at the Thompson Speedway, the Quiet Corner in Connecticut, and then wrap things up on a Thursday night, Martinsville Speedway, leading into the penultimate race of the NASCAR National Series Championship 4 weekend that will set the Championship 4 going into Phoenix at the end of the season. So 3 races left to go after this, 3 very different racetracks, and a lot of good action as we roll into the fall here for the Whelen Modified Tour.
And we've talked about the mix-up in the point standings possibly following this race, and we talk about Justin Bonsignor trying to capture yet another championship. And we have to mention that these tracks coming up sort of favor Bonsignor, Riverhead in particular, Thompson, where he's always been strong, and of course Martinsville, where he could clinch the championship. But Eric Beers does not want that to happen. It's too much of a close race for Austin Beers for him to be able to watch that championship slip out of his hands, and he has been able to work his way back up in the field here this afternoon in that number 64, trying to hold on to the championship points lead, led by 17 over Justin Bonsignor coming in here. And we should say that even though we kind of gave a nod to Bonsignor on the upcoming tracks, Beers is pretty good at Riverhead too, and will look to do well at Thompson when they go there on their World Series weekend on October 12th. So this championship run is far from over, regardless of what the point standings look like after this running today.
Yeah, we'll see how the damage comes into play there for the Austin Beers number 64. He's got some damage on the front of it. He's down to the inside lane, and we'll see exactly how it plays out. So the field rolling here to the back straightaway. 98 laps of 100 complete. They're on the back stretch now, and they will come down and put number 99 up on the scoreboard here for the Whelen Modified Tour.
This will be outrageous with just a lap to go. So the pushing and shoving will be in full effect once that green flag comes out, because you got to You got to make your moves to gain any position you can, and it's going to go all the way down to the finish. So hold on to your seats, ladies and gentlemen. We are ready to go green.
Down to the wire. The trophy in sight. Off turn number 4, green flag goes back in the air, and Justin Bonsignore launches out in front, inside lane. It's Tyler Ripkema battling side by side, trying to take over second. Problems for Mike Christopher Jr. He's off the pace to the inside.
Oh, what a tough break for him. Yeah, a little bit of smoke from that car and immediately drops to the bottom of the racetrack. A tough break for Christopher and the 13 crew.
Into turn number 3, the battle is on. Ripkema challenging to the back bumper of Justin Bonsignore. Turn number 4, white flag is in the air. One more time around for Justin Bonsignore.
Bonsignore with a little bit of breathing room between himself and Ripkema. Ripkema stays right in his tracks, and Craig Lutz is there too. Don't count him out.
Ripkema is there off turn 2. Can he make a move for the victory? The block. Bonsignore drives right down to the inside lane of the racetrack. He can't go any lower. Here comes Ripkema on the apron through turns 3 and 4. Out in front, off turn number 4. Checkered flag in sight. And off the corner, to the line they come. They make contact. Ripkema into the outside wall, but he takes the checkered flag for his first ever Whelen Modified Tour victory. What a finish. Tyler Ripkema has knocked that right front tire completely off the 3 car, but he got to the line first after contact from behind with Justin Bonsignore, and in a 2-lap finish to the run to the finish, it is Tyler Ripkema for the first time in his career, and Old Blue has won at New Hampshire Motor Speedway.
What a place to get your first right here at New Hampshire, and doing it with the right front pointed the wrong way. What a finish to the Mohegan Sun 100.
We teased the drama. We teased the finishes. And that one is going to go down into the history books as Old Blue, the homemade race car, the family team. Give it up, race fans. Your winner way down there in turn number 2. How about it? Tyler Ripkema is a winner on the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour. Usually the burnout interview on the front straightaway at the start-finish line, but Tyler Ripkema, they are going to have to tow that car to victory lane as they came to the checkered flag. What a move by this young man from Oswego, New York. He and his dad, Dean Ripkema, have run their family operation for years, but they joined the 3-car this season. Let's take a look at what happened. Ripkema shoving Justin Bonsignore into turn 3 on the final lap. Give him a little hip check up the hill. Bonsignore did not like that, and when they came off the corner, Bonsignore got right to the outside lane. Ripkema threw the block into the outside wall. The tire came off the rim, and across the line they came with a shove from Justin Bonsignore, and Tyler Ripkema gets the checkered flag over Bonsignore and Craig Lutz, who came across in 3rd. What a finish here today at the Magic Mile.
As dramatic as we've seen, and we pick up a new winner with that as well. Bonsignore on defense, but Ripkema drove it down, got 2 wheels over the bottom line, the white line at the bottom of the racetrack, and hung in there to make the pass.
Justin Bonsignore climbing out of his race car. He had the car to beat today, but in the final corner of the final lap, the chrome horn from Tyler Ripkema rooted him up the racetrack, and he just did not have enough to get the win today. We'll hear from some of our top 5 finishers in a moment. Bonsignore out of his race car, led the most laps today, but it's going to come up 1 car length, maybe even less than a car length, as he pushed Tyler Ripkema to the win across the granite stripe.
He stopped and looked at the front bumper there once he got out of the car, because that's where all the action was, coming down to the checkered flag.
Remarkable finish. Let's go hear from Justin Bonsignore with Jesse Punch.
Justin, it came down to the final few turns there. Take me back to that last lap.
Yeah, it always does. We talked about it earlier. Just he had too good of a run. I didn't have a good 1 and 2, and he was closer than he had been all day. And there's not much I could do. And I tried, crossing him over, and I just didn't get a good exit. And then he had me clear off of 4. I just don't know why he decided to go to victory lane junk. But congrats to him. He did a good job. He did execute it well. So just big thanks to Phoenix Communications, Clearcom IT Solutions, Fury Race Cars, Robbie Yates Engines, M3 Technology, the whole pit crew. Everybody did a good job today. these races are tough when it's green, white, checkered, but it is what it is, and it's a good day.
That's your second place finisher here, Justin Bonsignor.
I'm not sure why he wanted to go to victory lane junked, he says, if that's not a quote for the season, as there is that junk number 3 car at this point per Justin Bonsignor down there in turn 2. The Bowler Racing family has been at this for a long time, and the 3 car goes back into the history books of the Whelen Modified Tour and beyond here in the Northeast. A popular family, a popular race car, and this is a team that they do not buy the parts off the shelf. They make as many of these cars as they can. It's the only chassis of this style in the field. None other car is like it, and they do it their own way. And today they did it their way. They won at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Tyler Ripkema climbing up on that roof at the end of the race. I mean, what a moment. The raw emotion for him to get his first career victory.
He was feeling it when we went back to the green flag with just a couple of laps to go. And he knew he'd have a shot. He also knew that Justin Bonsignor was going to be on defense, and he had an answer for that.
Let's go back down to Jesse Punch.
Craig Lutz brings it home in third. What was going through your mind there on that overtime restart?
It's just chaos. You know, anytime you come down to a green, white, checkered here at Loudon, it's every man for themselves, and it gets crazy out there. So ultimately, you know, had an awesome car all weekend. My guys did a great job, put me in a position to have a potential shot at it. Just a little too tight when we needed to be a little bit better, but all in all, an awesome day for us. You know, this is we're just shy of the three-peat of the 3 big tracks, but happy with the 3rd place.
Third place finish today for that 46 team, Craig Lutz.
Yeah, good day for them. They were up front all day, started second. They had a great opportunity to get that 3rd win at the big tracks. All the companion races, it's been Craig Lutz. He was going for 3 away on Cup companion weekends. He had the All-Star win at North Wilkesboro. He won at Richmond Raceway not too long ago and nearly was in position to do it again today.
How about that car that was right behind him during the interview? The 70 of Andy Seiss, who comes up in the 4th spot here today.
That's a great run for Andy Seiss. He runs part-time. Hampstead, New Hampshire is where he is from. Let's go down to Victory Lane and Jose Castillo.
Oh, thank you so much here with Tyler Ripkema. Man, talk us through that last lap pass and the wild finish here at New Hampshire.
Yeah, I mean, the race here at New Hampshire seems to be the race at turn 3 and who can get to the bottom and make that move. And Justin protected really early, really low, and so I hooked back to the top and got a better arc down into 3. And we made a little contact there, but nothing I haven't seen him do many times here. But got to thank Justin. I pushed him a lot today. Me and him running 1-2 for probably more than half the race. But I knew we were really good. We just had to get up and be there going into 3 and get a run off of 2.
So did you know you had that last lap pass in the pocket ready to go?
I mean, it could have been there, but he went a little early, I think, to make the block. And I was able to get back up top and then get a good arc down in. I mean, if he would have done it a little later, probably not. I probably wouldn't have been able to get the arc to the bottom. I would have had to roll him on the top, but and that probably wouldn't have happened. So just happened to work out. It sucks that the cars tore up, but I wasn't lifting until I was crossing that start-finish line, so we got it.
I love it. You did not lift for sure. New Hampshire fans, how about it for your winner, Tyler Ripkema? Come on. The Modifieds, their biggest race, and we also have a little something special. You're going to pull a number out of here. Whoever finished in this number is going to get a set of Hoosier tires. So who do you want it to be?
Me.
That's the right answer.
Kyle Bonsignor.
It's 22. The 22, the 22nd position. Yes, the finishing position of the 22nd position. Tommy Catalano is going to get a set of Hoosier tires there, picked out by Tyler. Now, Tyler, we also have a trophy to present here from Mohegan Sun 100. Let's get you in here. Hang on just a second. Slide over there. There we go. Thank you so much. Mark Provost, Regional Marketing Manager here with Mohegan Sun to present the trophy to Tyler Ripkema.
On behalf of Mohegan Sun, congratulations, Tyler. Hell of a race. That was awesome and great job. Way to battle out there and great job, man.
Fans, how about it? Congratulations one more time. New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Your winner of the Mohegan Sun 100, Tyler Ripkema.
Thank you, Jose. What a finish we saw here this morning. Unbelievable. Mohegan Sun 100 belongs to that man, and the smile tells it all. Years of trying to win at this level. They have done it, and they have gotten that 3 car back to victory lane.
It's history for sure. as many times as that car or a version of it has competed here at New Hampshire, they finally get the victory lane.
Well, I think that car is history after the way it hit the wall as it gets dragged into a victory lane. Look at this car on the rollback. The 3-car in victory lane here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Unreal. Right front completely torn off it. Rear damage to it. What a day it has been. Pete, an outstanding race here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. It's another one for the record books. Now 3 races left to go in the season.
Never disappoints. Can't wait for 2026 and see these modifieds back here on the Magic Mile.
We'll be back here in the next to last weekend in August with the Whelen Modified Tour. Been a great race here for the Modifieds. Take a look back at some of the highlights of this one here in the Mohegan Sun 100. Justin Bonsignor started out front, but at the end of the day, it was Tyler Ripkema and the 3-car that's victorious and sits in victory lane. Fans were here, Cup Series drivers enjoying the action from early on. Emmerling was a factor, as was Ronnie Silk before trouble for them. Drama throughout, action on the track and the way that they race here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. At the end of the day, though, it was a change in the championship mix. Emmerling had trouble. Bonsignor finishes second. And at the end, a dramatic move by Tyler Ripkema to score the victory in his first ever Whelen Modified Tour win. On to Riverhead Raceway 2 weeks from now for the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour. Thanks for joining us for the Mohegan Sun 100.